Hello, is this past Mason? Yes, this is future Mason. Listen, I know it's tough right now. I know things look really bleak, and they will for a while. But you have to not give up hope. Because I promise you, if you just give it a few years, you, like me, will agree. Raiding Brighton is the best thing we'll ever do. What was that? Oh, no, Potter's trash. That's a terrible mistake. What's up, guys, and welcome to the Blues and Stripes. Pretty solid win. Nothing really else to say about it, so I'll see you guys later. No, I'm just kidding. There is stuff to talk about. First of all, we'll start with the refs, because this was a much more fairly called game, and it's pretty shocking, because they had the chance to bring Fluminense back into the match with the handball that was incorrectly called. I was actually really shocked that VAR even intervened there. I mean, don't get me wrong, VAR have intervened before where they probably shouldn't be because it was called on the field, so it probably should stay whatever it was called on the field because handball is so up in the air, so unless it didn't hit his hand, kind of feels like whatever the ref says should be what it stays. But both the other times that call was reversed, it went against us, so I was kind of expecting here the call would stay since it would be against us. But no, referee went and looked, and sure enough, saw that it wasn't really out from his body, it's down low. There's no reason it should have been called in the first place, and even watching his view on the camera, you could see he had a clear view of it, which makes it even worse. But you know what? Fair play. He decided to overturn it correctly, and I will say he was a bad ref, but he was at least not biased today. And like I said in the last video, that's not really something I could say for most of the referees in this tournament. Most of them have felt very biased against us in all of their bad decisions. Most of his bad decisions today were very 50-50. He'd call one foul against us that wasn't really a foul, but then he'd call a foul against them that wasn't really a foul. So it was just nice to have a little bit of fairness in the refereeing today. But moving on to Maresca, this is exactly what I was talking about in my preview. You can't predict Maresca. You just can't. And I'm not saying that's a good thing, because as fans, you want to know that the manager is going to do what's best for the team. And yet, when he's putting out this lineup, and there are clearly issues in the lineup, you just start to question if he really knows what he's doing. The one that I will give him credit for, that I was not really in agreement with at the beginning of the match, but clearly paid off, is putting Joao Pedro in from the start. As I said, I didn't think he was going to be ready to start a match. And really, he shouldn't be. I'll talk about him a bit more later, but if you think about it, he's been here about a week, maybe a little less than a week. How is he already fit enough to start a match in that little bit of time? How is he already ready to go? Like, I just have to assume somebody at Chelsea called his agent and said, hey, make sure he's ready because we kind of want to get him for the Club World Cup, because that's the only thing that makes sense. Most players would not be able, after taking a few weeks off, to come in and after just a week, if that, be fully ready to start a match and play as well as he did today. But obviously that's not something that I'm going to be able to predict happening, so I'm glad Maresca and the physio team were able to make that determination, and it paid off in the end. But the one decision that didn't pay off, because really nothing came of the right side of our attack, is the decision to play Nkuku on the right side with Gusto over there as well. Now I get James is probably not fully back yet. The fact that he had to come off the bench means he's fit to play, but probably not fit enough to start. But again, I still think Achimpong's a better option on that right side. Because I think what happens there is he stays back, Cucurella comes up, and Nkuku plays on the left side, which means Palmer and Neto are able to play on the right side, where they both prefer to play. But as it is, he starts Nkuku, puts him on the right, with Gusto being the overlapping wing over there. So now you've got Gusto as your wide option, and Nkuku on the right side. That is a very weak two to have over there. Nothing against Nkuku, he's been playing a little bit better recently, but those are two of your weaker options when it comes to the attack. And Neto and Palmer are now on the left side, where neither of them are as comfortable. And while Neto still did well on the left side, you could tell Palmer wanted to drift right. He kept getting over there, and it pushed Nkuku even further inside, and it just felt like things were a little bit unbalanced because of that. So I do not understand that decision from Maresca. Like, I get you want to play Gusto because you don't trust Achimpong because I don't know why. Maybe something in the training he's seeing. But I just don't understand why he felt like playing Gusto as the wing-back option and having Nkuku slide inside on the right. How does that make sense? I did say in the Palmeiras review, when you've got Gusto and Cucurella as your fullbacks and you're planning to either invert or push one of them a bit more forward, which one of them would you rather have? Obviously Gusto, because Cucurella is better on both sides of the ball, but we would rather have our defenders be solid defensively. So I'd rather Cucurella stay back and be that solid defensive line rather than Gusto back there and possibly causing a bunch of mistakes. So I get that you're going to push Gusto further forward, but he's been trying to push him into the midfield. it doesn't work, but he's been trying that for so long, he's not really using him very often, if at all, as a wing back. So what about today made him go, let's try this? And since he's going to be the wing, obviously Neto can't play over there, so we're going to push Neto to the left side where he's less comfortable, and we're going to play Nkuku on the right and see what happens there. And since Nkuku is going to be pushing into the middle from the right side, that means Palmer now is going to go over to the left side. Let's just see how all this works. And I'll be honest, it didn't. Like, despite our dominance in the first half, we didn't really create too much. And the goal is just a wonder strike from Joao Pedro. Honestly, both of them are. But our creativity felt like it was lacking because of the way Maresca set up the team. His subs were okay and predictable, I guess. Pretty much all of the players that we tend to see. You've got striker coming off for another striker. You've got Madueke going on and Neto coming off. You got Dewsbury-Hall coming on and once again pushing Madueke to the side he's less comfortable on and having Dewsbury-Hall as your right wing. Don't know why. And it's all the stuff we've seen before, and I just don't get it. Madueke, I kind of get because he has been effective in the past, and so maybe you're just trying to give him that time and give him a chance to get back to the player that we saw before. But Dewsbury-Hall, he has no future here. Surely Maresca has to see that. Guess who does have a future here? Tyreek George. Why are we not trying him on the left side at all? We're 2-0 up. Just put him on the left side with Madueke on the right. How is that so hard? Why can we not do that? Why does it have to be Dewsbury-Hall, who is never going to be a top level Premier League player? I know that's harsh, but he's just not. He's not physically or technically good enough to be at that level. And I think the reason why that frustrates me so much is because there has been a lot of concern from Chelsea fans, myself included, that our academy players are basically done because there's no way any academy players are breaking into this first team. That's what a lot of us believed after what happened with Gallagher. Colwill and James just felt like the exceptions, but even Chalobah, who's been great for us since he's come back from loan, even his future is in doubt. So it just feels like academy players do not have a look in. So when George and Achimpong got those first team lockers, it felt like a chance to maybe see the board and Maresca give some faith to these kids. But now here we are. Gusto has been stinking it up for most of this tournament. Achimpong still can't really get a look in. Instead of George, who is a natural winger coming onto the pitch, he's going with Dewsbury-Hall, who's more of a center mid. Like, those two players should not be in Chelsea's team. And yet, we would rather give time to them over our talented young players who have a chance in maybe a couple of years to break into this first team and be top level Premier League quality if they're given time. But Maresca's not doing it. And it's another reason why I still don't think he's going to be good enough to get us all the way to the top. So I apologize. It was a bit longer of a rant than I wanted to go on, but I just had a lot about Maresca that I wanted to get off my chest today. But moving into individuals, first of all with Sanchez, made a couple of good saves. Didn't really make any mistakes today, although there was one point when he should have come off his line and collected it. It was the one that went through his legs and Cucurella clears off the line. Really should have been quicker to react to that, but other than that, he was fine. Gusto on the right side, no big issues today. He wasn't great. He was okay. Defensively, he looked fine, which I think was probably the best thing for him today because he's been so defensively prone to error throughout this tournament. So the fact that he did his job defensively today was good. But on the ball, it still doesn't really bring you much. I will say there's something that's so aggravating every time he tries to take a shot from outside the box. Like, he's not scored a single goal for Chelsea, and yet for some reason thinks, oh, I can shoot this. I'm good at this. Dude, you haven't scored yet. How about you focus on getting your first goal and leave the shooting from outside the box to the players who excel at that, like Caicedo or, as we saw today, Joao Pedro. Chalobah and Tosin in the middle pretty much did their jobs perfectly. I cannot think of any time that either of them were really put under much pressure because they were always in the right position at the right time and cleaned up pretty well. Maybe would have liked to see a little bit more from Tosin in the attacking side of things because we know he can be effective and he had a couple of good chances that I felt like could have done a little bit better on, but that's very, very minor criticism. But Cucurella on the left side did his job. No problems from him today. Kept it very tight over there. I will say, as good as his attacking has been in the past, it does feel like his shooting is starting to lack a little bit. There have just been a few moments in the last few matches where he's been in a good spot to have a good shot on target, and he almost always puts it off target. So I would like to see him at least testing the keeper from those positions. Into the midfield, Caicedo comes back after a suspension and once again holds down the midfield as he does. A little concerning that he went off at the end. Hopefully it's nothing too bad. The fact that he goes off without any help is a good thing, but the fact that Lavia wasn't even on the bench today does concern me as well, because now we're going to have to start dipping into some of these younger, newer players that are looking good between Santos and Asugo, but probably still need a little bit more time before they are ready to play at the top level. Fernandez, I thought looked pretty solid defensively, helped out as well, which is not something he's typically great at. But I thought he got up and back really well, helped out Caicedo in the midfield. It was a good overall performance from him. Neto on the left side, even though it wasn't his natural position, I thought still looks good. I will say you can tell he's starting to wear down a little bit the more he plays in this tournament in such a short amount of time, and the intense heat that we have here, he's not able to do it over the full 90 like he was for the first few matches that we saw him. So I think Maresca's doing a good job at taking him out at the right time and giving him a bit of a break, because we need him to be 100%, and in the second half in the past 2 matches, he's definitely dropped off from that 100%. And Cuckoo started on the right, and he did move over to the left in the second half, and I think that is where our attack started to pick up a little bit more. I will say, though, his confidence needs to return in soon, because there were several moments where a more confident player buries those chances. There's one on the back post, he's wide open, all he has to do is have a shot, and he decides instead, no, I'm going to cut it inside, and at that point now there are several defenders in the way. So I think those decisions need to improve, but again, he's a player playing with very little confidence at the moment. And honestly, the fact that I even am talking about him in the sense of what he can do to improve in the future is already a huge step up, because in my mind, he's been gone for the past several months. I've just expected him out the door, and he still could be. But just the fact that the past couple of matches have already improved my opinion of him to the point where I'm talking about him as if he's staying, it's been a good tournament for him, I would say. Palmer in the middle, not his best performance. I do feel like coming in off the left is not what he wants to do, which is why he kept drifting over to that right side. But ultimately, I think just everything around him, it wasn't quite the same. It was a very different feeling front four than he's used to. He didn't really have a bad performance. Just based on his standards, I think I've seen him play better. I've seen him have better games than this, but he still was very effective at moments throughout. But we talk about the man of the match now, Joao Pedro, 2 brilliant goals. And this is probably our best pickup of the transfer window so far. I do think, based on what I've seen over the past couple of matches, he is probably going to be our starting number 9 now. I think Delap and Jackson both give you different things, but Pedro, he's already ready. He's already coming in with plenty of Premier League experience. And on top of that, I think he fits the striker that Maresca wants. Not necessarily an amazing box crasher and getting on the ends of crosses and all of that stuff, but hardworking, tries to win the ball back, putting some pressure on the back line, trying to drop deep, get the ball, and have a little bit of interplay. So much about his game is not your typical number 9, but I think he's just a little bit more ready-made than both Jackson and Delap. And so I do think this is going to be good competition for the both of them, who they do need to grow a bit. It's just a matter of how are they going to grow? Are they going to take this challenge on, and are they going to rise to the challenge and try to find a way to win that spot back? Or are we going to see heads drop? Are we going to see them trying to do too much? Because I will say, going into the subs now, for Jackson, it did feel like he was trying to do a little too much today. I think that one chance that he had where he wins the ball back, he's in one-on-one with the keeper, he's got Palmer in the center, all he has to do is just slip it to him, easy goal, and instead he tries to put it in himself from a really tight angle. Those are the moments where a young striker who sees his position is under threat, he needs to make the right decision there. And that's where I do think we need more experience in this team, because an experienced player can come in, put his arm around him and go, hey, come on, man. Use your head there. I know you're frustrated. I know you're trying to get that spot back, but we need you to play for the team there, not for yourself. I just don't know if we have that experience. I don't know if Maresca or any of the coaches are going to take that one-on-one approach with him and help him grow from those mistakes. I mean, so far we've not really seen him grow from a lot of his previous mistakes, but also we've not seen him with pressure, with somebody trying to take his spot. So I do think for both Jackson and Delap, this year is going to be very, very telling as far as what their future is going to hold. Because with Pedro coming in, it's going to be a lot more difficult for them to get a look in. So they're really going to have to focus in on making sure that they are actually bettering themselves and not just trying to make themselves look good to the coach. But the other subs that came on, James came on, did pretty well, solidified our back line a little bit more. Santos came on for Fernandez, looked pretty good again. I think he's showing he's got some capability of playing for this first team if he gets a little bit of a look in, especially with Lavia possibly being out for a few weeks again. Madueke came on, and I didn't really see too much from him. He was playing on the right side at first, and I was hoping maybe to see something from him just to see, does he have a future here, or is he going to be out the door? And honestly, I just didn't see much. I don't know if the rumors about Arsenal wanting him are true. I don't know why they need him, because he's better on the right side, and that's where Saka plays. But hey, if they want to pay for him, then I say let him, because he's not really doing much for us right now. And then Dewsbury-Hall, who was out there. Don't know why. But we are on to the final, which is fantastic. Can't wait to see it. I don't know who we're going to be playing against. I did say in my preview, I hope it's PSG, because if we're going to lose to a better team, which I do think Real and PSG are both better than we are right now. I'm not saying that means we're going to lose for sure, but I would say our chances are pretty low based on how we've been performing and how they've been performing. But if we're going to get beat by a team, I'd rather it be a PSG right now. I just don't really like Real at all. I do respect PSG for how they've done business this year and what a solid team they put together. So I'd rather get beat by a team that we respect rather than a team that I have no respect for at all, because Real are the biggest cheats in all of football history. But with all that being said, those are my thoughts on the game today. So let me know what you guys think down in the comment section below, or your thoughts on the game and Maresca and the players today. Let me know. We can talk about and discuss all that good stuff. Leave a like and subscribe for future Chelsea previews, reviews, and talks. And until next time, I hope you guys have a great day, and I will talk to y'all later. Peace out.